Thank you, thank you. Um, first, if possible, I need to see faces, man. We only six people in here. I can't. I need to see some faces, students. I need to see some faces. Um, this is going to be a. I don't care how you look. Yeah, I don't care how you look. I don't know if your significant others on this call, so I don't know if anybody else cares how you look, but I need to see some faces. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Pablo. I appreciate that. I need to see some more faces. I need to see some more faces. This is not a. It's not going to be a keynote or anything of that nature. But it's cool to see some faces while we rocking out, man. Appreciate that, Jaden. Appreciate that, Jaden. Oh man, Kevon, appreciate that. I need okay. Deborah's connected to audio. Asia, I need to see some. Asia, I need to see a face. I need to see a face. Um, so as we open up, first and foremost, I'm excited and honored to be here today. Actually, I like smaller, intimate sessions, man, so we can really get down to the nitty gritty, answer some questions and things of that nature, and really just vibe off each other. Before I actually jump into my story, I want to go around. I want to go around and ask, kind of get some context on who's in the room. So Pablo, if you can go first, man. Pablo, uh, where you from, man? What age? Not age group. What's your classification? And then yeah, what brought you here today? And you don't got to be deep. I know I'm on the call. You can be like, hey, I saw the link, I joined. So you don't got to be deep. What brought you here today? I have no huge ego. So Pablo, take it away.
Thanks for taking some time and having this with us today. So uh, for those who don't know me, my name is Pablo Moya. I'm actually the president of the Beta Gamma Sigma organization. And so just caught this from Keisha, and she was just saying that you are a really good person that kind of brings people into kind of their calling. And so I just wanted to stop in and see if I can get some insight. You know, as a student, my classification right now is a senior, taking it
Okay.
slow and steady though, because I have a
Yeah.
full-time job as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, just wanted to see what we have going on today.
All right, Jaden. What you got? What you got for me?
Hello, my name is Jaden Pledger. I am a junior business administration major with concentration in marketing, and I do a lot in the school of business. I'm president of the American Marketing Association here on campus,
Okay.
and I'm a part of some different other organizations on campus. So yeah, just want to come in, interact with you, interact with the deep crew on the call, just get some insight about next steps because I'm graduating early. And I'm applying to jobs. I'm applying to different postgraduate degree programs. So just get some insight on that in that process and how to stay motivated throughout that whole ordeal.
Okay, no doubt. Asia, nice to see you, Asia. Thank you for. I see that NC Central background popping.
I'm trying to figure out how to take it off. Actually, I think it's fine. Actually, I'll leave it up. My name's Asia Ali. I'm a sophomore.
I apologize, Asia, too.
No, you're fine.
For butchering the name.
You're fine. I'm a sophomore, and I'm kind of doing this I came on for extra credit, but for my business orientation class. Yeah, I'm an IT major.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Kevon, hopefully I said your name correctly, brother.
It's pronounced Kevon, but you good.
Kevon. Okay, I got you.
I'm a junior business administration student with a concentration in human resources. And it's really just for extra credit, but I thought it'd be interesting to listen to it.
Okay, cool. Last three. Let's go with Elena.
I'm sorry, I just kind of got here. What are we doing?
Oh no, you're good. Just your name and then why you're here.
All right. Well, my name is Alana, and
your major classification. Yeah.
Oh, I'm a business major, and then I'm a junior. And like the two before me said, this is extra credit, but just here to hear you and your story and every piece of advice that you have to offer.
I appreciate that. Let's close it out with Deborah, and then I don't want to mess up the name. Kyron. I don't know. I don't want to mess it up, but I'll let
you did it right. My name is Kiran,
okay.
and majoring in information technology. and I'm a junior. I'm here for the extra credit, but also like to hear some of the insight from you.
Okay.
Hopefully, that will be great for us to like in the future.
Oh, no doubt,
Thank
no
you
doubt,
so
no doubt. And
much.
no problem. Who and what teacher gave y'all all this extra credit? Who is this teacher? Is this same teacher or?
Dr. Slade and Miss Debra. Sorry, Miss Brain.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. And then last but certainly, is it Miss Deborah on the line? Is that Deborah right there? Hey, Miss Deborah, you put your with the lowercase d. I said I didn't know. I had to. I couldn't put my usual reverence to your name because I didn't see the big D.
I know I should change that long time ago. In fact, that's on my list to do. But anyway, I'm not doing it for extra credit. I just hear so much about you, Greg. So I made it my business to put aside and everything else I have on my list. I just would like to hear your presentation. And also I'd like to share with other students that are not present some of the good advice and tips that you'll be sharing. So again, it's a pleasure to meet you and I look forward to hearing your presentation.
All right, cool. I appreciate that. So I'm gonna go ahead and we just gonna jump right in. I would like for everybody that can, please do stay on camera. Man, it is first of all, it's an honor and I don't take your time for granted. I understand that time is the most valuable resource. And anytime that y'all give is not taken for granted or taken lightly. So first and foremost, I want to say that. Second of all, man, I ain't gonna lie, y'all lucky. Y'all lucky. Y'all get this small session, and everything I say today, I try to be as real and as direct and I don't even care about being authentic, but more so be as practical and honest as possible. So like when I talk about numbers, when I talk about situations in this class in this session, one, I just want to I come from a very honest place. And I'm gonna take and so don't take anything in jest, don't take anything too deep, don't take anything, oh my God, this guy's not humble. No. Because I think spaces like this is spaces where, especially as y'all continue to grow and become graduates and alumnus at NC Central, when you come back, this is not the time to be humble. This is the time to really showcase kind of, especially if you go in, you're doing what you do in your career. This is time to showcase what you have to offer, what you've learned, your growth points, etc. So the stuff I'm about to say, I mean it and I'm serious. And the reason why I like to start off like that is because, and this is not just NCCU, because I'm an Aggie. When I went to talk to Aggie, this is the whole college thing. And the reason why I love kind of to go in the direction I'm going into and what I'm about to say today is when you can identify what you're great at, your strengths, and you can articulate that proudly with confidence, looking people in the eye. Those are the things that captivate employers. As an entrepreneur, those are the things that increase trust. And I want to build with that person because they believe in what they say. I know many of y'all been in interviews and you say, oh, what? So tell me more about yourself. And if you ain't like, why would I hire you if you're not saying that with pride, exuberance? Tell me about a time. Those should be knocked out the park question because these are practical things that you have done in your career, practical things you've done in your journey as a student. So a lot of times we freeze up because here's why. A lot of us in a academic or job setting are not used to elevating what we're great at and what we're good at. Because, it's crazy. Society teaches you, hey, you got to stay humble, king. Hey, yo, nah, all this stuff. And we'll boast with our clothing. We'll boast with maybe even our GPA in the organization we're in. But when it comes down to who we really are, what strengths we really possess, what things we're really great at, what things make us a better candidate than another candidate, a lot of times we get nervous. Some of us start sweating. And I think a lot of that is because times like this, when they say, hey, what are you good at? Like, matter of fact, it's on the spot. Pablo, what are you good at, man? I'm an employee. I want to give you a job. I want to start you off right after graduating, 120,000. What you good at, man? Tell me something.
I'm really good at computers, so I'm going to go ahead and just give it 100%. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to collaborate with somebody, try to get you the issues you have, get them solved.
So tell me about a time walk me through a situation, your last situation rather, when somebody asked you something you didn't know, but you were able to solve the problem.
Just reaching out for help. I mean, everyone's human. I'm not going to say I know everything. So I'm just going to tell the person, hey, I know what the problem is at stake, what you told me. So I'm going to try to get a solution for you. Let me reach out to some couple people and I'll get back to you in a timely manner, try to get it addressed.
I
And then
appreciate that,
on the back
Pablo.
end, trying to make some moves, reaching out to who I know and trying to get this solved, researching on Google. So doing things like that.
But I appreciate that, Pablo. But tell me about the last specific time. Give me a story. Walk me through when somebody said, "Hey, Pablo, this is what I need," and you didn't know the answer, but then you were able to figure out a solution. Bring me there. Bring me into that moment. Bring me there. And it don't got to be deep. Just bring me to that moment.
Last time, I mean, I'm also work here with the help desk, so there's times where a caller can come in, and I'm not know the answer to it. So just kind of getting the gist of what the person's talking about, who I would need to contact within the university. So looked up in the directory and said, okay, this is probably who it would need to be. Put the person on hold, reach out to them, and then the person I'm talking to, I'm just saying, hey, look, I have X person, X issue. Is this something that you think you can address or help me out with it or help this person out with? No, but I know who can help you out. All right, can you give me that contact information? Get that, reach out to the next person, and then touch base with the person I have on hold and say, hey, I'm still reaching this in for you, but I'm going to get you a point of contact or at least a guidance of who you need to talk to. Get back on the other person's line and say, hey, this is what's going down, explain the situation again. And they kind of give me an idea of what's going on. They kind of explain the background process of it. And then just get back on the phone with the person and say, hey, look, this is what's kind of went down. This is the point of contact. This is what you're going to have to do. And if you have any other questions, reach out to this person.
Okay. Nah, first of all, hey, let's clap it up. Virtual clap for Pablo. Virtual clap for Pablo. Virtual clap for Pablo. Appreciate that. So I know I put you on the spot, man. And the last one, that was a great step in the right direction, right? But the reason why I just did that impromptu exercise, because a lot of times, if y'all know, specifically those seniors that are not directly going to go right into entrepreneurship full time when they're getting a job or when they're applying for a job, those type of questions, those are the ones those are the knock out the park. And the key tip to knock any interview out the park, specifically at the level y'all at, is before you go in, always, of course, you know, the run of the mill questions as far as, hey, so tell me more about yourself. Boom, you gotta you gotta bring them into your universe as if you're talking to a friend. That doesn't mean using slang and all that, but I mean it's personable. Hey, Pablo, hey yo, more about myself. One, I'm boom, boom, boom. All right, tell me about a time. Have those stories, like bring them into that room and describe that story. The reason why that's important is because a lot of students, some, to be honest, some of them stretch their resume out a little bit more than it really is. Some of them they like, you know, everybody been doing. You done had your job and you put all these 4 bullet points, and if they would have really asked you, like, well, like that's okay. But here's the thing: when you explain the story, probably taking an A. Yep. Matter of fact, last week, a lady called in. She was having a problem logging into student services, and what I did was I told her to get on hold. I called my manager. Manager didn't pick up. Then I thought about it. I said, I remember having that problem 2 weeks ago, and there was another lady in the service department, reached out to her within 5 minutes. I was able to close that deal. And matter of fact, what I learned about that situation is, one, when I like exposing things, communication is key. Most importantly, addressing the problem and letting her know that I'm going to do the best that I can to solve it as if I were in that step. And even though I said the same thing, my energy with saying that is like, boom, boom. It's something you believe. You believe I actually did it. So let me take a step back. First and foremost, my name is Greg Hill. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. My fiance actually was playing with me last night because I was born in Virginia. And then my first 4 years, I was in Knoxville. So she always tried to take my Durham pass. And I'm like, yo, I'm from the Bull, man. Don't take that from me, all right? And I don't take that lightly. High school, I'm going to go fast forward to high school because what I really want to do, the goal after this workshop or after this presentation or after this conversation, one is to only have one goal, is to highlight, right, in this digital area, at least one tool that you need to have in your toolbox to have you stand apart in this digital space, in this world, whether it's your job or whether it's in entrepreneurship, because I've done both. So let me jump into my story. And I really want y'all to really take notes or really listen to this story. And as we go about and have questions and I share some things, I want this to be a back and forth conversation, because I didn't come here to talk and just give y'all 45-minute keynote. Y'all can go online and type in Eric Thomas or get some sermons or whatever and get whoever your speaker is, you can go get that. I'm not here for that. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to give game, give advice, and really paint the picture. So I went to Riverside High School, who was in Durham, North Carolina. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but most importantly, I wanted to be in business and I wanted to create. And then even before that, it came from a place growing up where I'm tall, I'm 6'3", but I realized I wasn't going to go to the NBA early in the game. So I said, what's going to allow me to stand out and really create my name in this world? And for me, and it's not for everybody, for me, it was, I wanted to be able to create. I wanted to be able to lead teams. I wanted to run a business. I wanted to own my own time. I knew this from an early age. So around my sophomore year in Riverside, I realized there was a gap in the marketplace. Sodas, like small sodas, were getting sold for $1. I can get it from Harris Teeter, the big boys, for $1. And then lo and behold, within 2 months, I had 8 people selling sodas for me. I was making $100 a day profit selling sodas. I was giving my team 20%, so at the time, 30% to sell sodas for me. So every single thing they sold, I got 30%. And yeah, that was my first iteration in the business. Leading a team, supply chain, having to put I probably had anywhere from 70 to 150 sodas in my mom's deep freezer every single day, cooling. I would have 8 book bags. I had to navigate bus schedules. Some people were car riders because I had to get them the actual stuff before school. So that was how I kind of got into the game, where I was like, hey, there was a problem. I had to solve it, and I wouldn't know was not going to be an answer. And I think y'all are all in a unique position as college students. And now, even if you don't even want to go in entrepreneurship, the biggest thing is, especially in the digital age, is developing a skill. Grades are good because they make Keisha, make Deborah look good. You want to get the 4.0 because the School of Business wants to have these, whatever. However, in the digital field, skills are key. I'd rather have a 2, especially in my company right now, I'd rather have a 2.5, 2.0 student, a college dropout that has a dynamic skill than a person who's a 4.0 but has no skills. Because we're in the era where now companies, GPA is cool, that may get you pound in the door, but if you can't execute and have a skill, then how can you really add impact in that value? So at 15, I realized that, hey, I had to develop a skill, and I was really focused on developing, and that's how I continued to grow. So I made $100 a day selling sodas. Eventually, the school shut that down because it was like they weren't getting any money from the vending machine. So the vending machine is like, hold on, we keep doing this collect, and we ain't getting no money. Like, what's popping? G Hill shut it down in the squad. So they closed it down, and then I took that money, and then I invested in polos. I'm 32 now, so that was probably 10 years ago. Ralph Lauren polos were rich. So I imported them from China. I was selling them for $20. I was getting them for $6 a piece. And then I went to North Carolina A&T, stopped selling polos. And then, so unpack that. High school, the key thing that y'all can get from there is I started early. And many of you have already started. So I started early, and then I had to find a team. I had to find some other people that I can work with, that I can build with early in the game. Because one, if I'm the only person selling sodas and I'm making a lot of money doing it, if I didn't get a team, then somebody else is going to sell sodas too. So that's why you had to bring people in, and you had to be, and this is really key, I had to make sure I paid them. I had to make sure I broke it down with them as well. Because a lot of times we get these ideas, we bring in teams, and then when money starts flowing in, we get kind of funny. And it's like, and I see that a lot of times in business early on, and it's so important, because I'll be honest, and I'm going to get to my story. It's so important to honor your agreements and integrity over everything. I know it's easy to say, but a lot of people don't move like that. But it's integrity over everything, because what that happens is it builds positive habits. So as you, in 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, in your business or in your company, you've already built out these positive habits. So it's the universe usually tends to work in your favor in regards to that. So integrity over everything. So when I got into college, my sophomore year, I joined this program called Management Leadership for Tomorrow. It is a nonprofit specifically for rising juniors, so sophomores. Look up ml4t.org. Ms. Williams, if you could put that in the chat. It is a phenomenal program. It allowed me it changed my mindset on, because I had like a 3.8 in college, but I was really rough around the edges. I really didn't know corporate America like that. So that program allowed me to develop skills on how to interview properly, how to communicate effectively, what to wear and what not to wear. And I know that was back in the day, but here's the key. And I know everybody has phones, everybody has Google. There's so many resources out there, not only out, of course, YouTube, but so many programs are out there to support career growth, to give you game, etc. And the best people that change the game are the people that are outrageously thirsty to be in organizations with great people and to learn new information. Not just information you can share and laugh at on Instagram or on Facebook or in group chats, but information that can change lives. Y'all are in a phenomenal place right now where every single one of you have a phone. And if you have a phone, you have at your fingertips a device that you can research and find out every single thing you want to about any industry you're in, like where the internships are at, what companies are looking for, how to format resumes, what to do. So say, for instance, if you got a 2.0, you're graduating, you're scared about getting a job. Best believe there's forums with people with 2.0s that got jobs at maybe Goldman Sachs, at Google, etc. And there's a format and there's a way. Right now, on the line, on y'all fingertips, if you search hard enough, there is a blueprint for every single person's situation. I say that to you because I don't know y'all GPAs, but some of y'all on this call don't have good GPAs. I'm sorry. I would probably guess some of y'all don't. Maybe y'all do, right? Or some of y'all may have good GPAs but no experience. Or maybe some of y'all in the middle where you got average GPAs, average experience, and you're trying to figure out what kind of job can I get? You have the internet and the tools to get that, but a lot of times we're not thinking, we're not always thinking about, okay, what organizations or what resources do I need to grow? That's a big question that every single one you have to ask probably every couple months when you're journeying. What people and what resources do I need to grow? Because when you do that, one, it keeps your mind like, hold up, focus first on growing, and two, it allows you to start thinking about, okay, say for instance, right? Say if I want to be an investment banker, and I'm a junior or I'm a senior, and it's already March. That means a lot of jobs probably gone, but I need to figure it out, right? So I say, I want to be an investment banker. What I need to grow? One, I need to find some investment bankers to talk to. Okay, there's LinkedIn, right? So I'm gonna go on LinkedIn and I'm gonna look for, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna look for Black folks. If I'm Black or I'm Hispanic, whatever I am, I'm gonna look for people that look like me. And guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna match 100 of them. And this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say, hey, my name is Pablo. I'm just reaching out because I'm interested in being an investment banker. I'll be honest, I know it's February. I know people are probably hiring. Is there any advice that you can give me in order so I can obtain a job? Quick context. I currently have a 2-point GPO, have a little bit of experience, so let me know what I need to do. Here's what can happen from that. One, they can say, hey, maybe I know somebody that can help you out. Two, they can be like, hey, honestly, with that GPA and whatever, I would probably recommend you take some online courses, you go look at this program, etc. Here's the thing, though. You got to message 100 folks. Why? Why, Greg? Because, a lot of people are not going to apply, but I guarantee out 100 folks, 1 or 2 people are going to apply. And then that's your into investment banking. Like any industry you want to go to is not about, okay, because here's what happened. I see it all the time. Many have grand ambitions about industries. And what they do, they just go to the company to apply to the job. And then they don't get a call back. Like, why didn't they get a call back? It's like, unless you are before, but like it's March right now. Unless you are a 4.0, your dad worked at XYZ, whatever, you got connections. 9 times out of 10, you're not just going to walk into a door at a top company or any company rather that you really would want to work for and just walk in and get a job in a couple months. It ain't going to work like that. But any industry, any company you want to go to, what I would say is get your LinkedIn profile ready. You can talk to Keisha or career service. I know you got resources, and you message 100 folk in that industry. And don't just say, hey, I need help. Give them context. Make it, because here's the thing, when you reach out to somebody, you got to make it easy for them to help you, because these are all business people, right? So you got to make it easy. Don't say, hey, I need help, I need a job. No. Hey, and I always say paragraph or less. Paragraph or less. Hey, here's my name, my GPA, a little bit of my experience, and I would just love some resources and able to, gotta come humbly, and able to get into that industry. And the reason why I say that, because I'm jumping all around, but I'm getting excited. I got a podcast, and I'm gonna get to the creation of it, et cetera. A couple million downloads, and I went on a US tour like 3 years ago. Mind you, I'm not a celebrity. I know a lot of people, people don't know on my podcast, but I'm not well known where I can just show up in any city and sell out the city. But what I do every single day for like 4 or 5 months, any city I was planning on going to, I message anywhere from 50 to 100 people, personalized messages, and I end up selling out every ticket, anywhere from, and these are paid tickets, anywhere from 25 to the bigger thing is 120, 150 people. Why? Because I put in that sweat equity, because I realized, and here's the thing, you have to realize where you really stand. And I know this is hard, but I'm gonna be honest, right? We're coming from an HBCU. That doesn't mean we have HBCU pride, but we got to realize there's going to be some companies that we're not going to be our priority selection, right? If you don't have a 4.0, if you don't have a 3.5, if you don't have a lot of work experience, you have to realize that, hey, if I apply, I might not be the first choice. So when you realize that you have those things working against you, you say, well, what they can't control is my work ethic and my ability to just be aggressive and reaching out. They can't control that. So that means I'm gonna knock on every door until somebody hears me out and directs me to the path. That's the cheat code. Because here's what happens. When you don't realize that the flaws that you do have or things was working against you, you apply the stuff, you don't get it, and then you angry at the people. Or you angry at this, and you're like, oh, they didn't give me an opportunity, they didn't give me a shot. It's like, no, you ain't knock up, just like in sales, you ain't not gonna open up doors. That's the key. Like everything in life right now as a student, and I promise you, I don't care where you come from, I don't care who you support, I don't care if you got kids, I don't care what you got. Everything you want, somebody else has and is willing to give you. The question is, are you gonna knock on enough doors to get it? And the problem right now in the culture is a lot of people knock on 5 doors, 10 doors, they don't get the answer they want, they settle for mediocrity. And here's the problem. Unfortunately, right out of college, if you settle for mediocrity, a lot of times that becomes the pipeline. And then all of a sudden you look back and you 10 years removed from college, and now you blame Central. You're like, man, dang, that wasn't worth it. Or maybe you're looking at your friends, or maybe you're looking at yourself saying, I wasn't enough. Trust me, I promise you not. I was in the MLT program. There was people from Harvard, MIT, Yale, whatever. I was just as smart as them, if not smarter than them. I had just as much ability. So don't ever think you're not enough. I don't care what grade. I don't care about GPA. But the difference is, one, and I ain't gonna lie, there's a lot of key differences. They were smart. I was better than the communication, but there was some stuff they were smarter than me in, right? I ain't gonna lie. I can say it like that. Some of them were extra talented, right? But the students that take it to the next level realize that in those situations, I knew I had to knock on those doors. I knew that I had to work a little bit harder. And then here's the key thing, right? Because once you knock on them doors, and if you get the chance to get into that door, that is not the time to not be the first one in the job. That is not the time to say, I got other stuff, like I'm not gonna make this a priority. That is the time, because here's the thing. When my sophomore year, I got a chance to internship with General Electric. I was one of the first, I was just like second cohort of Aggies to get an internship with General Electric. I got paid like $25 an hour. I got a condo in Atlanta. I'm new to this because I'm a boy. My parents ain't go corporate America. I was like, what? I get that? I get all this stuff? And then what I did, I went in there and I wasn't the first one in the job. I took long lunch breaks. I was average, but after that, they shut down the internship program or that pipeline. And that probably was because of me. I didn't show up. I didn't do what I needed to do. And then I cost other people that opportunity. because I didn't take it seriously. I didn't realize that I needed, when I was there, I needed to be elite. So that next summer, I got an opportunity, and there's a program called SEO, Sponsors for Educational Opportunity. Sponsors for Educational Opportunity, another diversity program, which is next level. Like, I like inroads. I like inroads, but MLT and SEO on a different level, because it's just you're in that's for people that are interested in finance and banking, etc. And I got a chance to work for Johnson and Johnson in New Jersey, and the next summer, I realized that, hey, it wasn't just about me. When y'all go into this world, y'all carry Central on your back, whether you like it or not. And here's the thing, most importantly, outside of Central, you carry your family, your legacy on your back every single time. It's that deep. I'm sorry, it's that deep. Even as an entrepreneur, whatever you do, when you realize you're carrying your name, Pablo, Moya, if I'm saying is Moya correct, right? All right. Every single place that you go, you apply to, you interact with, you are carrying your name. And when you do that, when you realize that, and you're around that every day, you have a different respect for anything. Because I get it. A lot of people now, they getting full-time jobs, but they want to be entrepreneurs. They want their own time. That's in right now, and I get it. I understand. It's the network economy right now, right? But the problem is when they get in these roles, and they want to have their own time, but they're not being dynamic. They're not being dynamic for that company, because they think, I said I'm gonna do what I can, but when I get on my own joint, that's when I'm gonna do it. No, what you bring to one thing, and that's something my OGs told me this, and I didn't listen. But what you bring to one thing, you bring to everything. And that doesn't mean and I'm saying this, and I don't got all the time in the world. That doesn't mean that you're gonna go to a place and you're gonna work 100 hours a week. No. You still gonna work your allotted hours unless you need to have to. But at 40 hours, are you really gonna work? You really gonna work, or at least here's the thing. Here's the key. I ain't supposed to even tell y'all this. Even if you don't work all those 40 hours, you're smart enough to talk to your manager and know what the expectation is, and then make sure you're always operating on this expectation. And sometimes that only takes like 24 hours. It may not take 40. I'm gonna be honest. It may not take 40. But you need to know what the expectation is, so you can always make sure you surpass that. And once you realize that, that's how you can still. I did my entrepreneurship and my full-time job while I was working in corporate, because I had to realize. I talked to my manager. I communicated. My manager. I realized where the bar was. I made sure I was over that, and everything else, I went to my business, and it was all good. But here's the problem: some of us don't communicate effectively on where the baseline is. So you operate right here, and you doing your other side stuff, and then you just don't work like that. But I need to hear another. Let me go back to my story. Junior year, I didn't even tell you, I started another company called Joyman Entertainment. It was one of the biggest, and there's still archives and clips out there. I don't have the time to go to it, but it was one of, if not, it was Battling the Next Level. It was one of the biggest party promotional companies on the yard. I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha, so I did that, but I didn't want to be defined by Alpha, so I started an entertainment company. So we did marches to the polls, and we did parties, and we did educational programming. We did a lot of stuff. We were the only ones in Greensboro at the time that live bands, music, food, all that stuff at the club. So it wasn't just you go, you pay all this money, you just dancing. Like we had a vibe. We had poetry nights and all that stuff. And it went so well that I left college. So I was on track to graduate in 4 years, 3.7 GPA. I left school, and I ended up taking me 7 years to graduate. And it was a tough journey in between that last 3 years, because the business didn't pan out like I thought it was as far as generating revenue. There was some time I was homeless. Some time I was living in a car, just trying to figure things out, some months on end. Especially it was tough because literally at that time to be honest, I was the number one guy in the yard. Like I was for years. There was no, and then to go the next year and now you're homeless. Like literally, you don't have no money to eat. You don't have nothing. It's like, so mentally, that was the hardest mental of my life, where now I'm a different person. But here's the key: what I didn't realize, and what I learned from that year taught me was, and y'all got to remember this, because I'm gonna go back to this. I kept defining myself. I just kept letting other people define me. And I know y'all hear it all the time, but you have to really let this seep into your heart. You can't let it, you have to define yourself. And that doesn't mean, and that means you should be your best friend. Like, you have to define yourself. So then what that allows to happen is, even if you don't have the best GPA, you define yourself. Even if you're trying to get into college, but you maybe you had a couple kids, maybe you had a divorce, maybe you had this, you still define yourself. You still say, hey, regardless of this, I deserve to get the best. Because here's what happens. Sometimes we make a couple mistakes, we have a couple bad classes, we take a couple wrong decisions, and then our minds think that we don't deserve to still get the best. Why? Why not? Because people that's getting the best, do they deserve it? Like, have y'all seen some of these people? Have y'all seen some of these people on the news, these crooks, these executives that make millions and millions of dollars? Do they deserve it? Why do they deserve it? Because they're white? Why? Like, not to offend, like, why do they deserve it? Because they went to Yale, Harvard, that was built on backs of slaves? In America that's built on backs of slaves? Like, why do they deserve it? So we have this, then we started becoming this mindset, and that mindset transcends the work that we put in on ourselves. Because when you love yourself, when you respect yourself, that means you're not afraid to study, because you realize it's adding value to me. I'm about to say something. That means you're not afraid to give. When you value yourself, that means I'm going to give my time, resources to other people, because, hey, especially I'm talking about community, loyalty, all this other stuff. I value myself. Part of valuing myself is valuing others. So give, but the people that don't value yourself, you don't want to give. You don't want to study. Like, you don't want to take the extra effort and really, like, take the advice that Greg gave you to say, if your situation ain't the best, to go beat down 100 doors, you want to do 5. That's what you're going to do. So when you value yourself, it's going to be like, you're going to make a decision to say, hey, it is March, I don't got a job, or I'm looking for a job, and I want a job in this specific industry, and I'm doing every single thing I can to get there. But there's a difference. And most people don't go that direction, unfortunately. Most people go the direction, hey, I'm gonna get what the world gives you. And y'all know, like, in America, when you take that pros and you don't got the complexion for the protection, you don't end up in good spots. You end up at the bottom, right where they want us, to be frank. That's either here or there. Let me go back to the story. So I graduated. I stayed in corporate for a year. I realized that I wanted to be a place where I was celebrated and not tolerated. So I left. And I said, yo, I started my career as a motivational speaker. That's why I always would do just about anything for Keisha, because she was one of the ones, not right after I graduated, but one of my early stages of my career, to have me work with the Summer Youth and Business Academy. Put a couple money, some bread in my pocket before I really understood, like, how to move in the speaking industry. Allowed me to come do workshop with the students, etc. So I to this day, I always appreciate that, Keisha, for allowing me to work with the college and things of that nature. I don't forget that. So I started as speaking, and then after speaking, I realized that there was a gap, and I'm gonna have some time for questions. So I'm gonna get to close so we can open it up. After speaking, I realized that, one, the people that I wanted to speak to, where I was at right there, couldn't afford to speak to me. They couldn't afford me where I needed to survive. So here's the dilemma where a lot of entrepreneurs face to do service-based stuff. You're forced to say, hey, in order to survive, am I going to charge X amount to people that really don't really have a budget, or I'm going to go to people that have a budget but it's not in my demographic? What do I do? Like, how do I do? Because unfortunately, the way the system works, a lot of times, especially if you're in the service business to business stuff, or business to consumer, B2C, a lot of times your people you serve, a lot of times, are not the people that can really afford your product and service. So then when when you raise your rates, especially in our cultures, in every culture, people are like, same people like, we don't rock with that. Hold up, you charging what for that? Nah, we ain't did that. So then, because you hear it all the time, you see people all the time. Oh, black, and I don't know if it's just a black thing. I don't know if it's just whatever. But they not supporting me. My friends don't support. It's like, but that's not necessarily the case. It's just that in entrepreneurship, sometimes you get in those weird places. So I made a decision. I said, hey man, I had a skill set, and that's why I knew myself. I can communicate. I can storytell. The soft skill set, some of the skill sets that my ancestors already baked into me, already good at. And I realized that I can do that for organizations. So what I started to do, we started doing some marketing and some storytelling with some organizations. I started a podcast. That's what took my career to the next level, because I realized I wasn't a celebrity, but I said, hey, I knew a lot of people because I was in Alpha, I was in MLT program, SEO, so my network was huge. I said, and I always trying to learn. I said, "Oh, how can I talk to them without just trying to hit them up for free?" Start a podcast before anybody was black. There was no black males in the podcast space that had some sauce before I came. This is 2014. Zero. I had already been listening to podcasts. I didn't even tell you this. I was listening to podcasts because podcasts gave so much game back in the day. So I was 10 steps ahead of people. Marketing, email campaigns. I could design websites because I invested in myself, etc. So I did that, and lo and behold, man, shoot, a couple things went viral on LinkedIn. Some things had 80, 90,000 comments and some likes, and then all of a sudden, downloads went through the roof. I got a chance to speak at Harvard and going back to my alma mater, A&T, etc. And that allowed me, to have a platform that I built from scratch. Also, too, my own platform. So I'm gonna fast forward today because I can't share everything. I don't have enough time. Because I didn't even mention I wrote 2 books about my story and all this other stuff. But where I'm at today, right? So I got like 4 companies. The first is Minority Trailblazer Media. It is a media company, and what we do is we help companies create and tell stories. Right? We create and tell stories. I've always had to give, mind you. That's why I started early. Remember, I started at 14 selling soda. So I'm 32. I have 18 years of experience. What am I saying? Everybody here, majority of people here, you'll have experience in something. Don't ever discount it. Whether it's parenting, whether it's whatever, you have experience in something. You just have to wrap your head around like what applicable skill set and what industry applies to. So all this time, I developed all these skill sets. So now I can bring in the companies. And with Minority Trailblazer Media, we work with companies develop their develop emotion into the videos and tell story and get interactions and comments, and that's done really, really well. Also, me and one of my partners, we started a web production company, and now we have 8 employees, and year over year we've done close to, at the end of this year, in the last 3 years, we've done, me and him, a little over, we'll have done over $1 million in revenue. And I'll be honest, I keep this in house. Our margins are dang near, and don't share this publicly. You share with the students, Keisha, but don't share this publicly. Our margins are near 80%. You do the math, 80%. And luckily we've got it such a flow of the game where at this point, I don't even, like, I don't do, we just check in on stuff. That's just passive income of anywhere from 150 to 200 grand a year. But mind you, in order to get that, the first year, me and Mike, we worked almost like 20 hours a day on 4 different time zones, doing virtual web production, an industry which is small and niche. It pays crazy. That is like, there's not even any people of color in an industry like that. Like, we are literally the number one. I know we're the number one minority-led web production company in America, but we're probably one of the top ones in it because it's virtual deliveries. And the thing is, it's easy work. It's on Zoom, WebEx, and stuff like that. So that's how we're able to train, hire people, etc. And maybe, Keisha, I don't know, this summer we may be actually looking to expand and hire some more people. But yeah, that's been great. Then outside of that business, go back to Minority Trailblazer Media. We're on track this year to do probably, I think, anywhere from 100 to 150. And that's not even considering we about to get into state contracting. And state contracting is a different bag. And now, most importantly, we have the capital to get into this and fund people, pay people accordingly, and to make mistakes. So that's it. And the second thing is I'm working on now producing on my own documentary, and then working on a television series, scripted television series. I've always been a producer since I did my own, me and a lot of other people rather, did our videos when we were at Drum Entertainment. We created videos, we did that. In the last couple of years, I have all these ideas. I know how to pitch a pilot to executives. So I got the money to fund my own pilot. So we're gonna get in that industry. And that's not even by I still speak, but I don't even speak like that for a living. Like, what I do now, when I go to schools, I'm giving more than I get. Wherever I go, and the crazy thing, I dreamed of it. Before it happened, I dreamed of this. I said it was gonna happen, and it happened. I dreamed to be able to go to a school and say, hey, y'all all want books? I give y'all books. Oh, snap. There's like 20 students in the class. Oh, let's give them all hoodies. It's on me. Like that's what we do for our community. Not on those stunt stuff, but on some real stuff. And also too, I want them to see a 32-year-old coming to a school and say, hey, I know. And sometimes the principals are like, okay, cool, you do it for free, cool, yeah, cool. Not only do it for free, but I'm still giving away resources. They don't see people like us come through and moving like that they don't know. They're not a celebrity. Like they you can Google me, but if you don't Google me, you like, just like y'all came here for extra credit, you don't know. Like at 32, got a $50,000 with endowment with A&T, 25,000 already paid up. Like that doesn't happen in our context that often. There are before me, but there are not too many of us before me. And the reason why I say all this, one, it's exciting. And here's the thing. Here's the exciting thing about that. The way you can get to it, you have to focus on the work and focus on your skill. Because here's the thing. 3 years ago, I had probably I was in like $18,000 of credit card debt and I had no revenue coming in. But what was happening was I was focused on my skill and I kept getting better at communicating, better in my business strategy. And I didn't know when, but I knew one day the opportunities were going to come. And when they would come, I was going to be ready to knock them out. And when they came, within 1 year, like J. Cole didn't lie, your life can change in 1 year. Within 1 year, negative 20,000 in credit card debt to put 100,000 cash in the bank, no credit card debt, nothing. And then now I done got so sick with it. I finally realized how to use business credit, open up business lines of credit, use it properly. And so now I'm not even leveraging my own money anymore. So I got 4 LLCs, but I got an S corp. So I got my tax shelter. I got all this stuff because I never stopped learning. I never stopped investing in myself. I never stopped believing. But most importantly, and this applies for everyone, not even just entrepreneurs, just importantly, and I'm going to go back to this as I open it up for questions. Ever since I was 14 years old, I knew there's something about a name, Greg Hill. I said I wanted to be a legend. Everybody that know me from 14 on. If you talk to me, I always said I'm a legend. I'm gonna be a legend. I'm a legend. I'm a legend. I'm a legend. I'm a legend. Legend. My book, Remember Your Legend. Your legend. Your legend. I always could tell you. I always held myself in the highest regard. Why? Because I realized early about legacy, about your name, the importance of a name. So every single person on this call has a name, right? And I want you, as you move forward in your academic career, whether it's graduating from Central, whether it's not graduating from Central, whether it's an entrepreneurship, whether it's not, always remember, and it's not even like, always remember your name, most importantly, and what is the legacy you're going to put behind it. I know it's cliche. I know you've heard it before, but we have to think about it every day. When they think of Pablo, what are they thinking? And matter of fact, no. When they think of Pablo, no. When you think of Pablo, what do you think? Not because they is subjective. You know the game. You can do something for one day for one person, and y'all know if you got kids, you can love your kid. Adults like kids. You can love your kids one day, and the next second they just doing exactly opposite of what you just asked. That's what it is. Like you say, hey, you love them to death, and you're like, bro, like why are you peeing in the tub? I just toilet's right there. Like why are you doing that? Like what are you doing? So, but I'm saying like the world is subjective, but when you realize that, hey, when I enter this room in this internship, when I enter this room, I know what I deserve because, yep. I know what I deserve because I know who I am. And when you know who you are, you don't tolerate disrespect. You don't tolerate certain things, certain habits that you know you have. You say, hey, I gotta fix that. And that doesn't mean you're gonna be perfect. That means you're gonna try. And that's what I encourage y'all to do now. Remember your name and report. It's much important to try. Try stuff. You're gonna fail, but try. Do not leave anything just left undone and essential on your time. And here's the thing: you might knock on 100 doors. Maybe 100 doors might say no, but that doesn't mean next year you can knock on 100 more. And then you will keep that energy, same energy, because you once you realize your worth, realize your name, you're gonna know what's for you, what's not. And in that day, the energy you put out to the world is the energy you're gonna receive. And I know from y'all, man, I could tell by the energy and the connection, man. Y'all got what it takes. Now you just gotta prepare yourself to show the world or to give the world the right energy to be able to receive what you already deserve. So never forget that, right? And how you deserve it, you're gonna max out deserving it by the work that you put in. Not about grinding, but efficient grinding. Efficient. And how do you get efficient? By asking questions and reaching out to people that have done it and figuring out the way. And even if they won't talk to you, a lot of the people that have done it, they leave blueprints, they leave breadcrumbs. And I studied the breadcrumbs. So even if you don't tell me how you did it, I'm gonna research. I'm gonna research how you did it. I'm gonna figure it out, and then I'm gonna add my own thing onto it, and then we're gonna make it pop, man. So I think I'm sorry. I went to 4:56. We got 4 minutes left. I didn't even get a chance to ask no questions. Keisha, if you could put my email in the chat. So any specific questions, please just email me.